AI coding or AI editing has been around for a while right now. But if you have been paying close attention to what is happening on Twitter or maybe around AI circles, so there is this particular code editor called Cursor that has been becoming a lot famous, right? So it's just like VS Code or any other coding platform, but it has become very famous because it has launched a new feature called Composer. I think this is a topic that interests everyone. So I think that is also great to see. Yeah, I would recommend everyone if you can switch on the video, just give me suggestions. So I'll try to be as impromptu as possible. So I've not planned anything much for this particular session. So you just give me ideas and I'll just try to like see if I can make it happen with AI. So that is what I'll try to do. Okay, great. So first of all, I think what is this fuss all about, right? Uh, AI coding or AI editing has been around for a while right now. But if you have been like paying close attention to what is happening on Twitter or maybe around AI circles, so there is this particular code editor called Cursor that has been becoming a lot famous, right? So it's just like VS Code or any other coding platform, but it has become very famous because it has launched a new feature called Composer. So I think they have it somewhere here. The site that I'm in is called cursor.sh. So this is where you can actually download the code editor, right? So this is where you can download it. Okay, as you can see in this particular web page, you see a lot of their features as well. So you can chat with the entire code base. So whatever is your code base or the project, it can uh, have an entire understanding of your code base and answer them. And they have their own built-in Copilot feature as well. And you can edit code within natural language. So instead of you going to code and changing some lines here and there, you can just give it some simple instructions as to, okay, go change this, go change that, and it'll do that for you, right? And this is what we could do with that. So what I was thinking is I can just show you how to create very simple Python Streamlit apps. So let's say if you're not fully into full stack development or something, you might have little bit difficulty in follow along the NextJS part or maybe the React application that I'm going to create. So first what I'll do is I'll just try to create a simple Python application and see how that works. And then I'll step it up further and show you some of the some full stack apps that you can create with this, right? So let's see what you can do with this. So I'm just opening a new folder. So I'm just on my code editor. So I'm just opening an empty folder. So I'm not doing any, so I'm just creating a directory, uh, code along. I'm just creating a direct called code along. I'm going to that folder, opening that folder with cursor. Okay, so I'm on this empty page right now. So there is nothing written in this. But what if I can write some code in this particular folder without actually writing anything? Can I prompt my way? So I'm starting with a completely empty folder where there are no files created. But can I create an application out of this is what the question is. So with Cursor, I'll just tell you a few of the features that they have, and then you will be in a better position to understand what are all the things that I'm using. It shouldn't just feel like magic, but I'll just introduce 2, 3 features that they have. So the feature that we'll be talking about or using the most is called Composer feature. So if you go to this particular editor and click on Command I, so it will open a box something like this, right? It will open a box something like this, where you can just mention whatever you want to create, right? So I'll just say create a main.py file with Streamlit app. for taking notes. So you see that I started with an empty folder myself, and I asked it to create a file which has a Streamlit app for taking notes. So I started with an empty folder, but it has written main.py file by itself. So I just say accept, and let us see if it is actually working or not. Okay, so Streamlit run main.py. So you see that we were able to build a simple note-taking application. So I didn't use anything. I didn't create any file. I just prompted my way. I'll just say a note title, code along, uh, prepare for the cursor session, save note. It's saved successfully as a note somewhere. So what I would say is, let's say it just created this particular application. So what I can say is whenever it is adding a note, how about it adds each and every note to the sidebar, right? So I asked it to create a simple note-taking application. It gave me something, but it is saving note as a text file somewhere, which I don't know where it is. So let me just ask it to save all the notes within the sidebar itself. So I'm not going to change any code myself. So I'll just go back to Composer again, and I'll say, uh, whenever I save a note, please display them in the sidebar. Just say accept all. So now let us see. Let's go to the application. Just refresh it again. As you see the save notes right now in the side. So let's say uh, greetings. Say hi to everyone. Let's say I'm adding some random note. Save note. So it's saving note on the side. Now let's say I don't like the interface of the app. It looks very boring. It's not colorful. It is let's say as you can see, white light is reflecting a lot on my specs. So I want to make it dark background. So I'll just go back and I'll just say make the background dark. That's it. As simple. So simple human prompting. Nothing complicated. Just a simple prompting.
So Satvik, is it using some large language model behind the scenes, or how is it like?
Of course, whenever you are using Composer, it is using 3.5 Sonnet model.
Okay, and
So
it is free, right? And you don't have to install, or you have to configure that.
there are two things. So first thing, the Cursor Composer is a pro only feature, which has a free trial that you can just download and use it. And I'll shortly show you a few other features that are free that you can use, and that are free, but you will have to input your API key. I'll shortly show the setup. So I just wanted to get you warmed up with what all is possible here, and then I'll show you a little bit on how I did the setup. And before I proceed to the full stack app, I'll just show you how to do the setup as well.
Okay, thank you.
So it made it dark, right? And again, it didn't do a very good job in highlighting that, but it just made the background dark also. So you see that even though if you are a professional developer, if you had to write everything yourself one by one, it would still have taken you around half an hour or 1 hour at least. But just by opening a empty folder and we just prompted our way through creating an application, something like this, right? So this is one of the very simple and baseline application that you create. I'll just ramp it up and show you the full stack application as well. But before that, let me just show you what is all the setup that you need to do to make it work, right? So let me just end this particular host. Okay. So the way, whenever you download Cursor, you will see this option on the top right, which is called Cursor settings. in cursor settings, let's say I'm on a pro account currently, but uh, uh, even if you're not on pro account, what you can do is you can click on the models and the code editor. So all of the features that you're going to use is using an LLM in the background. So one way is that you pay them for pro subscription and they'll let you use models along with the plan. Let's say you don't want to buy their plan, so you can still go ahead and enter your own API keys. So if you want to use a GPT-4 model, just use your OpenAI API key. If you want to use an Anthropic model, you can just use the Anthropic API key. And again, these API keys you can just get from the links that are mentioned, or you can just directly go to openai.com or maybe Playground OpenAI or maybe Console and Anthropic to get your results. And whenever you're working with Cursor, there are a lot of features that they have. So Cursor tab is the free alternative to GitHub Copilot. So Cursor Composer is the feature that I've been using for a while. So all the chatting that I've done is done through Cursor Composer feature, where it chats with the entire code base at once, where you just can chat with the file. Code base indexing, docs, and chat is the other feature. So I have shown you the Composer feature. So let me show you two other features that this particular bot has. So let's say I'm just creating a new file. Let's say random check.py. And let's say I want to write a lot of functions to convert date into time, time into date, so on and so forth. Let me write a lot of functions like that. So what I can do is I can just press Command K. Command K opens this particular small window that will work in that particular file. So I can just say create 7 functions for date time conversions. Make sure they are diverse. So with Command K feature, you can just give it a prompt and it will go ahead and start writing everything within that file. So I asked it to create 7 functions for datetime conversion. So it has given some different functions that way. So I'll just say accept. Let's say you want to, okay, this is also a very simple way to go ahead and create something. And this also particularly comes in handy when you want to change a specific part. Let's say I don't like this function and I want to refactor it somehow. So what I can do is I can just go select that particular function, just say command K and say I don't like the structure. Uh, Modify it. Let's So you can select a particular code that you don't like, or maybe that you want to modify or something. You can just go ahead and accept it. So it has created a new function for me. So let's say you want to write a little bit more detailed description for this function. So that is also something that you can do. You can just go ahead, write the doc string, write the doc string in more detail. You see that it's just writing the function as we speak. So it's like, okay, there is a little bit formatting error, but yeah. So you see that I didn't have to, I personally didn't go and edit each and every line by myself. I just happened to use it and it's just working, right? So that way you can create new functions, modify new functions, so on and so forth with Command K feature. And let's say if you want to do something like, you can also chat with the file at a time. So if you go to this particular feature, Command L, you can also access through Command L. So it will also open a chatbot where you can say, I'm thinking of replacing all these functions with simpler ones. modify the code. So you see that even though even if you're not a full-time developer or something, even for the 75% of intermediate people that are on the call, I'm guessing that you can basically understand at least 5 or 10% of the code. So that is more than enough, right? So you don't have to understand each and every line. And again, if you are doing some production ready application, I would not suggest that you just prompt your way to your app and just put it in production. But let's say when you're learning something new, or maybe if you just want to test out the waters and build something for yourself, this is a very cool way to do it. So you don't have to wait till you get 70% knowledge of Python or maybe 80% of knowledge of Python to feel confident to build with a particular language. So even me myself, I would say like I'm decently good with Python, I believe. But coming to TypeScript or JavaScript, I know the bare minimum basics, but otherwise I have never continuously coded in that. So that is where the real challenge lies, where I will now open a new Next.js project and try to create a full stack application with very good design also, right? So I'll show you a few of the applications that I've created a while back. So let me just try to show you how that came out to be. Meanwhile, if anyone has any questions on whatever I've shown, you can just hit me up. Like you can just unmute yourself and ask, or maybe you can just send it on the chat as well.
So I have a question. So, like as a data scientist, I generally work on either Jupyter Notebook or VS Code. So I see that it supports the Python files, but can it also support the IPython notebook to write and analyze the code?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, it can write it. And there is one question. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you build mobile apps with cursor? Yeah, like even if you're building a mobile app, you're writing code in your system. So as long as you are writing something on your computer, cursor can help. Okay. So
So
let me just
it takes care of
directly,
both
yeah,
backend and front end.
pardon?
So it takes care of both front end and back end as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll just try to see if we can create a simple chat application, right? So what I'll do is I'll try to create a simple chat application, and then you can give me one request, and I'll see if I can build that with this particular thing, right? So the first thing that I'll do is I'll just go ahead and initiate a new Next.js project, and this is how you standardly create. So let's say chat app cursor. So I'm starting from ground here. So I have not used any sort of code before. So I'm just starting from very scratch. And maybe within next 5-10 minutes, we will have a full-fledged chat application where you can chat with the OpenAI's bot. And again, the app should actually look beautiful and it should be functional in every which way. So I'm just creating this Next.js project, which will again take around 15-20 seconds. Okay, I think this project is being initialized. It'll take a couple of more seconds. So, how many of you worked on Next.js, React, or some sort of projects before? You can just maybe I'll just do a poll. Just create a question. I think creating a poll is taking a lot of time. It's just loading. I think someone has a question. Yeah, you can go ahead. Okay, I think my project is created. So let me go to the project. CD, chat app, cursor. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just install a UI library that I found it to be very easy to use. So I'll just install a UI library where we can fetch components. Terminal is just starting. I don't know what's happening. Okay. So I'll just install this npx shad cn at latest. So I'm just doing the very basic setup in here. I'm not doing anything complicated. These are the base steps that you will need to do. I'm just initiating a project with some pre-made libraries. So now what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and create a design for this. So let's just create a very good design for our chat application. So for that, I'm going to use something called v0.dev. So v0.dev is a company is by a company called Vercel. So which currently creates this NextJS framework, and they have all of other things. I think for some reason my laptop is lagging, so maybe I'll just pause my video for a second. So let me choose some gray color. So yeah, the basic setup is done. But if you look at the starting template of how the application would look like, I'll just run this and show you how the application right now looks like. It's just a starter template. There is nothing in the app right now. So it will just spin off a server in 3000 port. So let me just open it. Okay, this is the home page. It looks like it has nothing in it right now. So let us see if we can create a nice chatbot for us. So for that, I'm going to use something called V0 by Vercel. So V0 by Vercel, the link to access is v0.dev, right? If you go to v0.dev, you will be able to see this particular interface. So they have released this new feature called you can design something just by chatting with the application. So what I'll do is I'll just chat with this particular application to create some sort of an interface, right? Create a chat interface. Create a chatbot interface, which with black and red colors, let's say. Even Cursor Composer can also do the design, but I'm just trying to show you some different ways to create design as well. So this is how you can create. It has started creating a design. It looks something like this. And again, this is a very boring design that I don't like. So what I'll do is I'll just ask Claude to create a better prompt for this, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to Claude. I don't know, my laptop is lagging like crazy because of. Why can't I find the screenshot that I just took? Okay, this is the screenshot that I have. So what I'm going to ask Claude is to create a prompt for a very nice interface. I'm just asking Claude to help me with a prompt for something like this. Okay, I think it gave some decent enough prompt. So let me go ahead to this. Send this. V0 is again a different platform to design an interface, and this is separate from Cursor. So there are a lot of tools as of today where you can just uh, uh, create interfaces. So I'm just using one of them. So you can use anything else. Like even Cursor can also do the interface, but my idea was to show you different tools that are available. Okay. So let's say that this is the interface that it has created, and let's say I'm assuming that this is decent. So let me say that I don't want these dark colors. Let's say make the colors light.
What is this tool? V0.sh or V0 AI?
Zero.dev. So I'll just send the link on the chat. V0.dev. So V should be small, but doesn't matter actually. Okay, this looks like a good design to start with, right? Okay, this looks like a good design to start with. So what I'll do is I'll just copy paste this design into the project that I've initiated, right? So you see that it is still writing some code. So we'll just wait for a couple more seconds till it is ready. I think it is ready. So what you can do is, again, I'm using ShadCN library where you can just export and import components directly, but you can also do that with directly with Cursor also. So I'm just running this. So this component will be exported or maybe used in my project going forward. So while that is happening, you can see our current app is, again, we didn't make any progress in our current app. It just looks very boring as you have seen before. So let's say this is the application that we have. Okay, this is not even running because I just stopped it. But let's say if you just npm run dev. Okay, this is how our application looks like. So what I'll do is that, so now using V0, we have added this component called futuristic chatbot lite. So what I'll ask the bot to do is, now I'll ask it to use this component within the main application, right? So a very simple thing that I'll do is I'll just go to page.tsx. So I'll just clear the unnecessary code that is required so that I can only see hello world back. So yeah, I have I have removed all the basic code. So let's say if I open the app right now, you will only see a hello world written in the page. Okay, this is how the application looks like, where only hello world is written, no buttons, no chatbot, anything. So this is how our application is right now. So let us see if it can make a chatbot out of the components that we have created. So what I'll do is Command I. Command I will open Composer for me. Then I'll just say, I can just add this component for more context. I'll just say, in the page store, include the chatbot interface in the page.tsx or main page, or let's say I'll say in the landing page. So I don't have to change any code myself. I don't have to copy paste anything. So it is just understanding by itself as to where it has to change to do the changes that I've requested. So I'll just say accept. Let us go back to the app. Let me just refresh the app. I think there is some error. So let me just give this error back to cursor again. Let me accept the code. Let us pray that it works right now. Okay, let me just try again. And if it doesn't work, let us just create a new component. So the error might be mostly because we are using some library that's not installed. Okay, as we see that there is a library that is being used that is not imported. So let me just accept. And the reason is that even though you can, one thing that I've noticed is that at a time I was able to create an app within 5 minutes. Sometimes it actually took me 3-4 hours. Then my realization was that you need to understand how to debug something instead of you cannot automate everything right away. So you see that, okay, here I have been lucky where I just gave it, just copy pasted the error 2 times and I got the chatbot like this. But sometimes it happens very easily. Sometimes it takes some time. So now this is how the chatbot interface looks like, where none of it actually works, right? So it's not, okay, it actually gives something. So it gives some standard response every time, but let's just connect this to GPT. But before we connect this to GPT, I don't want the name future chat. I just want it to be build fast bot, right? So let's say if I want to change the name of the bot, I can just ask it to change it. Instead of future chat, change the name of the bot to build, say build fast. So earlier you had to go to all the files where this particular name is being used and change one by one. Now I just asked it to change the name and it just changed the name. Let me refresh. So it's saying welcome to build fast bot. Welcome to build fast bot. How can I connect with you? So now what we'll try to do is can I just use a GPT model on the backend so that I create a chatbot? And since we are using LLMs and these LLMs might not have knowledge of the latest tools and techniques, right? So let's say if you are using Claude 3.5 Sonnet model in Composer, So this has a knowledge cutoff of sometime in 2023, right? So it might not know about the new OpenAI API or something. At those cases, whenever you are dealing with those situations where you want to use new APIs, just supply the new code to the bot so that it knows what you're talking about. So let's say I want it to be linked to my GPT-4 model. So whenever I chat with it, I should be able to chat with it. So what I'll do is I'll just get for some code. So for this, I'm going to use Vercel AI SDK is a library. If you go, this is a library that will help you use, and this is a JavaScript library that will help you use AI within your project. So I'm just going to their examples, and I'm creating a chat application for NextJS app router. I'll just say okay, basics, generating text. So this is the code to use GPT 3.5 turbo model. So what I'll do is I'll just, and as you can see, it says that you need to add this file in app / actions.ts. So I'll give the same instructions to this and ask it to add the file in here. So let me go back to the bot and I'll say, so I don't want to use GPT 3.5 turbo model. I want to use GPT-4o mini model. I'll just change it. GPT-4o mini. And just say, please add this file in app / actions.ts. And again, I'm not inventing any code. This is the standard code that I got from this particular documentation, that you need to add this particular file in this particular location. So I just went ahead and added it. I don't know why it's making changes to other things also. So whenever you're one thing that I've noticed is I just asked it to add a file into this thing and it went ahead and it's also changing the other component file, which I probably don't know why it is changing. But let's just accept and see what it's exactly doing with it. Or maybe it has already initiated it and we don't know about it. So there is an error that we are getting that there is no library installed, so which is expected. So we don't have this AI libraries installed. So npm iai. So whatever is the library where you're getting errors, so just go ahead and install that. Meanwhile, I'll just create a env file where I can just store my API key. OpenAI API. I'm going to delete this key after the call, but yeah. So it has made some changes. Let's see what changes it has made. Okay. So I need to run the app and PM. Right. So it has been intelligent enough that whenever I gave it a actions.ts file, it has automatically integrated API. I didn't have to write a new file also. OpenAI file and RU chat GPT. Right. So you see that I was able to develop this. I think I started it around 9:38 or 9:35. And within 20 minutes, I was able to get a bot that is working, right? And let's say I want to add more features. So whenever OpenAI or ChatGPT is replying, I want some confetti, right? I want it to add some additional effects. So let's see if we can do that. So I'm just telling you whenever a chatbot replies, I want some firecrackers or something to appear on the screen. So let us see if we can make that. So whenever the bot replies. Shower confetti on the screen. So it is asking us to install this library. So let us just install that library beforehand. It's going ahead. It's making all the changes. Let's just accept it. Now let us go ahead and run the bot. Going back, let me refresh. Okay, now we have this. So let's say I say hi. If you notice, there is a confetti falling, right? So does anyone want to do any other funny things or silly things? Let's say I ask, who are you? You see that whenever it is giving some response, we can do that. So now let's say you don't like the colors, right? You don't like the colors, you can just go ahead and ask the bot to go ahead and create something like this. So this reminds us that generative AI is a magic, right? Let's say if you were to ask me to write this code, so most of the applications that I have published since, let's say I might have created at least 100 different applications till last week, let's say, out of which I would say almost 90%, 95% of them were primarily in Python. And maybe 3-4 times I tried to develop with JavaScript using some full stack framework, but I thought it was too much effort to do it because I had to learn something from base. And I thought after a certain point, I just stopped learning any other new framework. I thought, okay, let me focus more on learning AI and rather than learning frameworks. So that was where I was at. But when I saw this particular feature, uh, this particular framework, I used it a while back. So let's say at least 1 year back, I used this to create 1-2 applications. But to create a very simple chatbot or maybe similar thing, it easily took me around 2-3 days of on and off and going with multiple errors, so on and so forth. So it took me so much time. But now it's very easy, right? It's just like magic. You can just prompt your way through an application. But again, it won't happen if you don't know the basics of the framework. And picking up basics of the framework is the most easy thing, right? Let's say if you are working on Next.js like I did, you can choose any other framework for that matter. Go ahead and watch a YouTube video, right? Just go to if you want to understand this particular framework, even before you be able to use it, you'll need to understand some basics, right? Next.js basics video. Just go ahead, watch 1-2 of those videos, understand the basics, and then you will be able to navigate. And I guess most of the people in the session might be thinking, okay, you said you don't know coding with Next.js, but how are you able to add these components? How did you know what commands to add, and so on and so forth? So that is only 5% of the knowledge, right? So being able to set up the project, being able to save API keys where you have to, knowing where to run and what not to run is the basic skill. If you have this basic skill, then you can just pick up everything along the way, right? Uh, so what I think we are already at 10 o'clock. But if there is any specific request from the audience as to, let's say, if you want to build this application or that application, I can go ahead and try. So we'll design this application and do this. So if you have any questions till this point, yeah, you have these videos, just go ahead and watch. Let's say, yeah, this guy makes a decent enough videos. You just go watch this 1 hour video. It will be more than enough for you to follow along as to what these components are or what these functions are, and then you can jump ahead and directly code. So I'll show you one other application that I've just just before the session, I was just trying out few different applications also. I'll just show you one of them. I created a quizzing app, and again, this also took around 15 to 20 minutes to create. So let me show you what I did with this. And again, this also is a generative AI application where I use LLM API to create something. And hosting this also is easy. So when you're using Vercel, as long as you have a code repository, you can push it to GitHub. and directly link it to Vercel. So deploying is also only 2-3 steps. And you don't have to, know how to use AWS or maybe something like that. Once you have this application created, and within like 2-3 clicks, you'll be able to deploy and share this links also. So this is what I've created just before the call. So let's say you want to take a quiz on India. Start quiz. So it gave some questions. So let me answer. Okay, tiger. Diwali, let's say. So I've created a very simple chat, quiz application where I just gave it a prompt to create some quiz application where people can go from one card to another card, and once everything is over, just display the results as to what is the answer they gave and what is the correct answer, and just throw confetti at the end. So that is what I was able to do. And again, even this took around 15 to 20 minutes from start to end. And again, the only skill that you need to have here is the basics of the framework. And even to be able to use cursor or composer or features like this, it will take some time, because the first time I tried this feature, I didn't actually understand it for the first 2 days. So I was trying some random things going nowhere. I almost thought it was useless. But maybe after 2-3 days of trying it, then I really started to like it in terms of how easy it is, or maybe you will need to grow with it. So just try it a couple of times, even if you can't get it to work for the first time. I would just suggest you to keep at it that way. So what we can do is we can just create, let's say even in this quiz app, you can just suggest some changes that you want to make to this app, and I'll just give it to cursor, and I'll make it change. If you want to change the color, if you want to change anything with respect to this app, you can just let me know, and I can just do that. Or even better, you can give me an application that you want to create, and let's see if we'll be able to do that within time. Ask user to choose the topic. So yeah, this is the topic, right? Multi-select option for answers. Multiplayer snake. Okay. Okay, so there are few options for quiz. I think ask user to select topic for quiz. I think user is also already able to select the topic. So let me just see this thing. I think we have Pawan Kalyan fans. Very nice. Okay, let's see. There is this suggestion called multi-select option for answers. So whatever things that we have seen. So let's say I started this. It's just repeating same question, but again, let's say there is only single select. So what if we could do multi-select? Okay, let's try that. So I go to cursor composer, and I just so make sure that you are in the most relevant page for the better output. So let's say page.tsx is where actual things happen, and you can also add the quiz app. I think. Okay. So now say allow users to select multiple options at once. So I just took the prompt that you gave in the chat, and I've just given it. You see that it is going ahead and making some changes. Yeah, you will get the recording of the session. We'll put it on the group. It made some changes already. Let's accept it. Let me refresh. As you can see, okay, okay, it's just refreshing. Say I choose a topic, say Himalayas. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just like that, right? It didn't take a lot of thinking. You just had to like ask it to do this, and it just gave. Or let's say whenever a user is selecting an option, let's say I want to throw a error saying that, let's say if they are choosing the wrong answer, or maybe whenever they're choosing the answer, what if I could throw a toast, or maybe if I could just throw an emoji from the sky that they have selected or something. I don't know what I'm saying, but let me see if cursor can understand what I mean, if it all, right? So whenever user is selecting an option, so emoji display an emoji toast. Let's see if it understands my intention. And okay, it's asking me to install some libraries, which I'll go ahead and do that. So AI is the master now, so I'll just do whatever it asks me to do. So I'm just refreshing the app to see if whatever I've asked it to do, it has given or not. Or maybe I think one of the fun things that would be do is to add a timer, right? So let's say whenever we are giving a quiz, we would want it to give some sort of a timer also. So let us see. I'll just run this and see if we can add a timer also. Let's say climate change. You want a quiz on climate change. Start quiz. Let's say I'm choosing this option. So it shows the option is selected, right? It's showing a toast saying that option is selected. Option is selected. Option deselected. Option deselected. And I didn't have to do a lot of research, right? I just gave it a prompt and it's just giving me this particular error. So which is also great. And to be able to think about this, you should know that there is this feature that exists, right? So if you don't know that this is possible with this framework, you can never do that. So maybe one last change we will do to this is that, let's see if we can add a timer to this particular application, and it can also display the how much time we took to give the quiz. So let's see if it can do that. So let's say add a timer to the quiz. Make sure, I don't know, let's say, let's see if it can make a vintage clock. Make sure clock looks vintage. And again, I don't know what I'm saying, but let's see. So it's creating a new component altogether. And we have been lucky that we didn't run into too many errors, but otherwise, I have noticed that sometimes you actually run into a lot of errors, and then it ends up changing some wrong file. Even I have seen that issues also happen with myself also. So the thing is, whenever you are using these on your code basis in production, just be careful, because as you see, right, uh, just by chatting, we changed all these files. So to be honest, I don't even know what few of the files are actually doing, but it's going ahead and changing it on behalf of me. Also, there is some compiling error. Okay, let me refresh and see if we have the timer ready with us. I asked it to give me a vintage timer, but let's see. Okay, let me just do this again. Okay. So now see, now let us see if it has added timer for this or not. Let's say Olympics. So it has added a timer, and you see that it looks sort of vintage, not exactly, but I think I absolutely love how it looks. Okay, there is error at the end, so we can just copy. Just mention to cursor. I was able to give the quiz. At the end, I am facing this error. And again, I didn't even read what the error was, but I just gave it to cursor and see if it can figure out itself. And let's say, I think if you look at the benefits of using this, right? So it costs around $20 a month, right? But the amount of productivity, let's say, even if you are someone who is coding or even learning for that matter, let's say you don't code regularly, but even if you want to learn, instead of, let's say, uh, you buy courses that might be worth thousands of rupees or something. So just investing 2000 rupees on buying this and trying out is again invaluable thing, because you get to see the real power of AI with all these things. So even if you're a coder or non-coder, you can't help appreciate how easy things are becoming in terms of how we are able to do this. So I don't know about you, but I feel like I have a superpower right now. So yeah, I feel like I have a superpower since the day I started learning generative AI, and this is the most overpowered I'm feeling. Maybe with some agents coming up, or maybe with some new models, I think that will happen more and more in the future. Yeah. So let's say it was working smoothly, but in the end, it was not able to display results. So I just gave it a prompt that this is happening, and let us see if what sort of correction that it has done. Okay, there is some more error. So the thing is, you just copy paste it again and just go ahead and repeat. Or maybe it might be due to the multiple select answers, or maybe it actually found out what the error was. And yeah, sometimes if you're lucky, it will happen very easily. Sometimes it might take a little bit hard. So let us see one last time. And I think we are already over time, but let me just see if we are able to get this right. And you can make changes to UI, you can make changes to your backend. If you have a database link, you can ask it to make changes to it. And the possibilities are endless as long as the code is residing on your system, and these models have access to it. It can actually go ahead and change it. And at the end of the day, these models have seen, let's say, all this code, they have been trained to do all these things, right? So I think these can on any day be better than any human. But if you are able to use these tools perfectly, then again you feel like you have a superpower. Yeah, I think maybe loading this is taking time, but you get the point, right? So just by prompting through. So most of the application that I've created, I have probably copy pasted, let's say 5 lines of code here and there. And I've ran a couple of commands to install certain libraries, but I didn't go to any code. Let's say if you look at this, I didn't go to any code myself and changed anything. So all the changes you see, like it has probably made some hundreds of changes in the code just by simply prompting. So that is how powerful this particular tool is. So let's say if you are maybe to all the 75% people, and maybe the 15% of people, I guess, who have never coded, I would say this is the best time to start to code if you haven't already. My opinion is that coding jobs are not going to go anywhere. It's just that we'll have very fast coders, and we will see people who are losing their jobs. So this level of abstraction we are getting is already, like, we are already there. If people were to lose jobs, I think if a developer can't use these tools effectively, they will lose their job. If let's say traditionally I'm a let's say analyst or something, if let's say data analyst, data science, if I am able to create full stack applications within 10 minutes, then what is the what is the mode that real developers have, right? So even the other day, I was interacting with one of my friend who is a full stack developer at a big company, uh, and we did a competition to develop an app. Right, we just made one app, and he probably took around 40-50 minutes to do that, and I was able to do that within 5-10 minutes. Right, and he's a traditional full stack developer with over let's say 7-8 years experience at that point, and he's been doing that every day. And here is me who knows only 5-10% of the framework, but I'm able to do it faster and even a lot better than him, at least on aesthetic wise. But I don't know regarding the code performance and all, but that's a good place to start with anyway. So yeah, I think these were the things that I wanted to cover, or maybe show you what is all possible. Maybe sometime I think we will also try to I'll try to create a YouTube video on this and also upload it soon, where I'll just walk through whatever I have shown. This recording will also be given to you, but I'll try to make a more structured tutorial where you download cursor and set up everything. That I'll probably do it in the coming week. But meanwhile, just go ahead, download this, try it with different models, try to fail sometimes. It won't work for first time. The setup will fail. All those things will happen, but you will have to go above that to make these things work. Okay, with this thing, I'll end my part of the session. And if you have any questions or queries, you can ask me now. Or maybe I think I have probably this was not intentional, but I just thought, okay, since you are all already on the call, so I would like to talk about the course that we are offering. So the crash course on generative AI is our flagship course that we've been running it since Feb this year. So we have last week we have completed 6 cohorts. We are going to start 7th cohort on 21st of September, right? If you have liked this session, or maybe if you want to learn even more things about generative AI, right? How to use LLM APIs, how to create chatbots, uh, how to fine tune models, how to create agents. So there is a lot of interesting stuff that we have packed, and all people in our cohort will also get $250 free credits as well. Go ahead and explore the course. You can just go ahead and see the curriculum as to what are all the things that we cover. And if you enjoyed this particular session, uh, I think you will certainly also enjoy the course as well. And again, it's not about uh, you being a traditional coder or you using generative AI or not using generative AI. So generative AI will be everywhere, and you have to be ready to face it wherever you see it. So I think this course will be a very good introduction for you to the world of generative AI as to what all is possible. Today, you saw what all is possible or what is happening in the coding space with AI. So with this course, you will get a lot of exposure in terms of all the tools and technologies that are available, and you can also be ready. And yeah, I think the course is starting on September 21st September. And we also have some discounts also. So the thing is, the course is currently for 20,000. We will give you a 25% discount on that. And if you reach out to us and register within this weekend only, we can give you some additional discount as well. So you can just say hi on the chat, and we will reach out to you for any additional discount that you might want. And yeah, so I think that was mostly it from my end. If anyone wants to ask any questions or any queries, you can just ask me. So you can also let me know if you want more of impromptu sessions like this, where we just take a problem state, and we can in this thing, the more focus was to show you what all is possible with AI coding. But we can also create some interesting AI agents, or maybe we can fine tune a model just for fun. So we can also do this. I think this was a great session. I think it was C2. It was great to see a lot of people turning up, uh, or maybe still staying in the call at 10:20 on a Friday night. Okay, so with that, I think I'll end my part of the session. So if anyone wants to ask any question, or maybe just want to have a quick thought that they want to share with anyone, you can just do it, right? And also you can just quickly fill the survey form that Sakshi has sent. So if you like this session, or maybe if you like this format or not like this format, so you can just go ahead and give us the feedback. The form is on the chat. Okay, I think I'll leave everyone with your Fridays then. So go have fun for the rest of the Friday, and happy weekend. And for people who are celebrating Ganesh Chaturthi, happy Ganesh Chaturthi as well. Yeah, we'll meet again in one of our next sessions very soon. So yeah, I'm on the call for next couple of minutes. If anyone wants to have a quick chat about the course or maybe anything in general, I'm available on the call for next couple of minutes. But otherwise, I'm not going to teach anything new right now. So you can safely exit the call if you don't have anything. Yeah.